how they won this race.
Oh, Davey, top. Allow that to jump right on by him. Come outside there. Don't you block it. You won't get it. It's yours, man. Throttle up. Come on, buddy. Stand in the gas. You know, just all the way in the bottom. You're clear. All the way down. There you go. That's what I'm talking about. That's it. Good job, man. Hell of a job. You, Kevin. Good job, guys. Hell of a job. Oh, my God. Did you get all over? Gentlemen, great job in the pen.
First time that Harvick has passed Jimmie Johnson for a race win. It's the first win at California Speedway, Auto Club Speedway for Richard Childress Racing. Tough day for Tony Stewart, who faded to 13th at the finish. Kyle Busch was the strongest all day. We knew Jimmie Johnson could win here. Kevin Harvick, where did he come from?
Now, I tell you something, though, Mike. When Harvick put that bumper up against the 48 going down the back, and remember, boys have at it, I guarantee you that's the first thing that went through Jimmie Johnson's mind. I'm messing with Kevin Harvick here, and boys have at it just came into my mind. I think that had a big effect on how he got in that third turn and where Kevin Harvick was able to make that pass.
Larry, none of the top three finishers took tires or stopped on that final caution.
Well, I think they all were friends with each other. When we had 8 cars that stayed out, I went, okay, I think for these guys up front, that's going to be just fine. Obviously, those guys that took tires, like Matt Kenseth, who finished 4th, just needed more laps to get up there. I think back to Kevin Harvick. He started the season off with the engine failure, finished 42nd at Daytona, and they have had a lot of problems on pit road with this 2019, but obviously you could hear it in his voice. They prevailed today, the call that was made at the end to stay out, and now, as you said, 5 races, 5 different winners.
Elaine is not here today, and I'm thinking maybe giving a call home and seeing how she liked his little effort there at the end of the day. Well, that was one for the ages. Probably the most exciting race we've seen at Auto Club Speedway. After all the excitement of this, we're going to have to rest up for Martinsville.
Chris, well, Harvick, Mike, I'm sure guys will be celebrating. A great move by him, Jeff Hammond. Is there anything else Jimmie Johnson could have done?
You know, I think he probably did all he could because, again, I think what Kevin Harvick kind of pointed out, and Darrell and all the guys are talking about, this is Kevin Harvick you're messing with. And if you're not careful, if you try to throttle out of it, maybe mess him up getting down in the corner, he was probably going to spin you out. The only other thing maybe Jimmie could have maybe tried, and I'm sure he'll be thinking about it all night long, is maybe drove it into the bottom a little different and made it slide up in front of Kevin and tried to play a little bit more of a block on him. But again, you run the risk of getting wrecked.
It was 3 for the road. It was Kyle Busch. Then we thought it was Jimmie Johnson, and in the end, Kevin Harvick. But let's check in with Jimmie Johnson. Matt Yoakum is standing by.
What an e-ticket finish for Jimmie Johnson. How would you describe that run between yourself and Harvick?
It reminded me of last year in the spring race, you know? Just couldn't hold him off that time. Those tires made the difference. I knew he was coming. I could hear him. You know, they said he was coming. If I could have maybe got by the 18 a lap sooner, it might have been enough to give me the margin I needed, but just way loose, man. I was driving my butt off to try to keep the slow Chevrolet up in front, but it didn't pan out. I hate losing them coming off of a 4 like that, but we did everything we could today. Had a great race. Made our car a lot better all day long, so I'm really proud about that. So.
And yes, Ryan Mallett, did you get in the fence?
Yeah, there's one time off the 2, I was chasing the 18, and I got crossed up and smacked the fence, so, man, I was dead tight with all day. Even when I was tight, I was still loose, so, just glad it turned out to be a decent day.
Impressive and fun to watch run by Jimmie Johnson, second here in Fontana.
A great finish. As we check the results here, it seemed like, Jeff, that Jimmie thought Kevin, there was some confusion on the tires taken by Harvick.
No, Kevin didn't come in. And Kevin, Jimmie Johnson, Kyle Busch, the only guy in the top 5 that came down pit road was Matt Kenseth. He did take 2 tires.
Pole sitter 1, Pablo Montoya, said he was interested in points racing. Pretty good points today. Dale Earnhardt Jr. up there, not in the top 10. Tony Stewart, who ran second, stayed out early, thought he was going to be in the finish.
Yeah, there's something happened to that 14 car, because again, he was a factor all day, top 5 runner all day long, winds up 13th.
Kyle Busch led the most laps in this race, 151. Denny Hamlin, who had the valve train problem, as You talked about earlier in the recap, Jeff, led 15 laps. Tony Stewart led 11. Trevor Bayne touching the wall early and then later running into the wall, the Daytona 500 winner, and rounding out the unofficial results for a dramatic ending here. The Auto Club 400 powered by Coca-Cola.
No, it really was, Chris. I mean, it was one of those races that looked like it was going to go entirely Joe Gibbs' way, but it was finally going to get their first Sprint Cup win here after a great finish by Kyle Busch and win on Saturday, but it just didn't happen.
And I know it's only one race, but remember Kevin Harvick started the year saying the phone security code, he changed it to 4848 to remind him of chasing down the 5-time champ, the Dominator. He did today, and we have a lot more post-race coverage live from California, where Kevin Harvick led one lap, so most importantly.
Well, Kyle, you had a great race car today. As you came across the start-finish line, I heard you say sorry. Why'd you say that to your boys?
It's just, you give it up, you know, and we gave the race away today, unfortunately. Just we seemed to be losing the handle a little bit, 2 runs from the end, and then especially that last set of tires, we just didn't quite have what it took in order to keep the front end under the car and then the back end under the car on the exits of the corners. Just couldn't get the right speed that I needed, but the guys did a great job this weekend. I mean, the Interstate Batteries Camry was good from when we unloaded the second one yesterday, and so I can't say enough about the guys on pit road, about the guys back at the shop. They did a great job for us and got us in position, and just unfortunately I couldn't get the job done today, and didn't have what it took there at the end.
Well, Kyle, I heard you asking about the 48 behind you. Did you know that the 29 and the 48 were gaining on you?
Well, I mean, yeah, I can see them growing bigger in the mirror, so they were coming, and I knew that the top was my best friend all day, all weekend. And when I got up there, it was just real tight. It just wouldn't turn, and I'd get in the fence almost. So I just had to slow the car down in the center of the corner so I wouldn't get in the wall. And then when I would try to leave the corner, I'd be too loose, and those guys were just better.
Thank you, Kyle.
In a backup car, he doesn't go back-to-back, but keeping it together. Meanwhile, for Kevin Harvick, 3 of his last 5 wins have come on last lap passes. Checking the points after 5 of 36 races that matter, with the emphasis on winning, and Kevin Harvick showed you what that was all about. Carl Edwards, your leader, and Kurt Busch, who came in with that slight edge, had a rough day. He is currently 3rd with Kyle Busch 4th.
Yeah, I mean, even though he had a bad day, Kurt Busch is still hanging in there 3rd in place. And right now, Kyle Busch has got to be somewhat happy he's able to kind of like keep adding to those points. But the thing is, right now, look at Kevin Harvick. He jumps all the way up into the top 10 and 9th place in points.
And the top 10 is really the key, because the 2 drivers that get in, regardless of points, it's about wins, which would mean that Jeff Gordon would jump up because of those guys outside of the top 10. He has a victory already. Those are the points to the moment. Let's check back in with Steve Burns, who's with the points leader.
Well, Carl, you guys really chased the racetrack today. You didn't have a great race car, but it seems like you just kept getting it a little bit better at a time.
Didn't you say racing here was easy?
I did not say that.
That was not easy at the end. That's I'm glad I had a cushion though the last couple laps. I got to watch those guys. Got to watch them battle up there. Just an amazing finish. And we didn't run that well with our Aflight Fusion today, but the last run, no tires, was the best run we had. And to come out of here with the points lead going into my favorite racetrack, Martinsville, that's nice to be able to come out here like that.
Thank you, Carl.
Thank you.
Ryan Newman's 5th year in Fontana. What impresses you most about how this team has just performed, not only today, but the start of the season?
Well, I guess the biggest thing was we overcame some bad pit stops, and they were in the green, fortunately, but at least one, I know that was for sure. I shouldn't say 2. But the guys did a good job. Tony Gibson made a great call in staying out. Just really proud of the U.S. Army Chevrolet, everybody at Stewart House Race, giving us the opportunity. And unfortunately, Tony didn't get to finish up the way he ran all day, but he'll have that. As long as you still finish, man, you get the points.
Ryan Newman 5th.
All right, Matt Kenseth wound up 4th as Kevin Harvick continues to celebrate. Harvick, again, one of 7 drivers from the state of California, the most of any in this race today. How about Kenseth? Nice little move there, a guy who's won here before and had success, and certainly needed to make up some ground.
Yeah, Larry Mack and Darrell Walton, they set it up about that last pit stop, whether you're going to come or not. Carl Edwards was the last car to stay out. He really had an opportunity to move up. Well, Matt Kenseth came down pit road, took on 2 tires. Great call right there by Jimmy Finnick to give him an opportunity to challenge right there, and he was able to work his way back up to 4th. I mean, they weren't the fastest car all day long, but they were right there and consistently up in the top 5.
And Brian Vickers finished 8th, so he's in the top 10. It's a comeback story. We talk about other sports of great proportion. It's been well documented. A guy who had a heart operation, and there was some question, at least in other people's eyes, whether he should race again. He's been back in the car. Certainly a great effort from him today.
He was high, wide, and handsome all day long. Well, I saw it. He got up there rim riding around. He showed that he's back to true to form. The team performed. I think he did an outstanding job, and they finally got some luck to go with some pretty good run and be able to have a finish like they did. I think this is the kind of confidence booster that will really help this team as well as Brian Vickers as we go deeper in the season.
He was moving like he was drinking Red Bull, and let's check in with Brian Vickers. He's with our Dick Berggren.
With Brian Vickers, your best finish to come back so far, an 8th place finish. How do you feel about that?
Well, we wanted to win. But you know, I think everyone's pretty happy. The way our luck's been, to be honest with you, we had a good car all day. We were competitive all day. We just couldn't quite get that last little bit of tight out of it to compete for the win. There at the end, the restart, the 09 hurt us a lot. He spun his tires. But that's all right. We came back. The guys did a great job in the pits. This is just what the Red Bull 83 team needed. It was just a good, solid day, especially the weeks we've been having lately.
Congratulations. Even brighter days ahead.
Thank you.
Matt, when I talked to you at the end of the Bristol race, you said, I'm not really sure how we got into the top 5. How about today?
Today was the same but different. We were a little more competitive here most of the weekend. We just we're really fast when the track was green in the beginning. I mean, we drove right to the front. As soon as the track got rubbered up, we just lost the handle on the car and just fought all day to get it back. So, again, they made great adjustments. The last lap was the farthest up in the running order that we were. And it seemed like we were really coming out of them. It just took us all day to kind of find a home and get it better. So, pretty happy with our finish. I always want more. The first guy in tires, we were kind of running them down, but it was a good day for us.
Thank you, Matt.
Thanks.
And we'll continue our live post-race coverage from the Auto Club 400, powered by Coca-Cola. Kevin Harvick, his first win since last August. Highlights and a lot more to